Welcome everyone to the Lofi Poli Sci podcast. I'm your host, Michael Pickering. That's right, Lo-Fi's in low fidelity, low quality, in your face, messy as can be global news show. Here we're going to talk about that famous question, what's going on in the world today? I hope everyone's ready. It's Messy Monday. Messy Monday's weekend recap will bring you 10 fast-paced headlines from across the globe, and then a piece of humanity to send you on your way for the week. The news, fresh off the press. The following 4 stories all come from Reuters World News. We begin with a story on the United Nations. Russia, China vetoes Syria aid via Turkey for second time this week. That's right, at the end of last week, Russia and China both said no more to aid for Syria via Turkey. Russia wants the aid to go through the Syrian government itself, something the West is weary of. We'll have to wait and see this coming week if a new vote happens and where that aid will go. Now, to Russia we go. Russian city marches in support of detained regional governor. Last week we spoke about how a governor of the Liberal Democratic Party, not President Putin's party, was arrested for murder. Now the people of the region are speaking out. It's rare to see large protests like this in Russia without a government crackdown. We'll be following this story closely as it proceeds. Our next destination country is Thailand, with a discussion on monkeys. Thai monkey trainer rejects PETA's claim on coconut harvesting. Interesting one here, folks. PETA had claimed monkeys were being chained up, trained, and used to collect up to 1,000 coconuts a day in order to feed the industry. I watch with great interest the response of the Thai government. Moving now to France, where we see 2 former French agents sentenced to prison over China's spying case. France Info. That's right, it wouldn't be Messy Monday without a story of mystery and espionage. The 2 men were French intelligence and sentenced to 8 to 12 years for treason for spying for China. Ouch, France. Our next 3 stories all come from the BBC World section. To the Philippines we travel. Philippines top broadcaster ABS-CBN denied new license. A final and sad update to this story about the Philippines' most popular TV network news channel. They were trying to get back on the air, but it seems President Duterte was successful in keeping that from happening. A sad day for worldwide media freedom. Our thoughts are with you, Philippines, and we'll be continuing to watch. Now we move to Dubai and the U.S. FBI kidnapped Instagrammer from Dubai, lawyer. And here we have more international mystery for you, Lo-Fi Nation. The UAE does not have an extradition treaty with the U.S. However, they said the famous Instagrammer was extradited to the U.S. However, the U.S. says no, he wasn't, but didn't say how he ended up in the U.S. Interesting. And fishy, U.S. Very fishy. And now another story from the United Nations. U.S. strike on Soleimani was unlawful, UN expert. An update to this long-running story from January. Recently, Iran placed an arrest warrant on the U.S. president for this attack. And now, the UN expert says the killing breaks international law. We'll definitely be following this one closely as it develops. And our last 3 stories all come from AP News International and Oddities section. Now we travel to South Korea for our next story. Seoul mayor's death prompts sympathy, questions of his acts. Last week we brought you news of the mayor's disappearance into the wooded area outside of Seoul, South Korea. Over the weekend his body was found. Police gave no details of the death as it is an open investigation. A lot of mystery on this Messy Monday. To Poland we move next. Polish president wins second term after bitter campaign. Over the past several months, we've brought you news of the Conservative Law and Justice Party moving more and more away from the EU and democracy in general. The incumbent president winning could signal a continuation down that path. We'll be watching with much interest, Poland. Much interest. And our last story of the day. A lesson in patience, perhaps. Or not. It's from the U.S. Go figure. The story. Sheriff. Man loses arm wrestling match with son. Pulls gun. If this isn't the messiest thing I've heard in a while, I'm not sure what is. A 55-year-old man gets drunk, challenges his son to an arm wrestling competition, loses multiple times, pulls a gun, and fires twice in the ceiling, then refuses to come out when the cops arrive for 8 hours. Really? Really? Lo-Fi Nation, we all enjoy a little bit of messiness and craziness from time to time, but we don't get this messy. Stay safe out there and don't drink and arm wrestle. And don't drink and play with guns. As if that needed to be said. But apparently, someone should have said that to this guy. And that's a brief snapshot of what's going on in the world today. Always remember that Lofi Poli Sci is more than just me. It's the we that we be. Write in with questions or comments to lofipolisci@planetmail.com. Thanks for listening. Stay safe, wash those hands, and I'll see you on the next episode of the Lofi Poli Sci podcast. Pickering, signing off.